Buried beneath layers of time, scattered across the ancient lands of Eastern Europe and the Middle East, lie strange symbols etched in stone, clay, and bone scripts that no one alive today can read. They whisper of civilizations long vanished, voices silenced by the centuries, their stories locked behind cryptic codes we have yet to break. Who were these forgotten scribes? Why did their languages disappear? And what secrets did they try to pass down through these unreadable signs, from the misty Balkans to the deserts of Persia? These undeciphered scripts challenge everything we think we know about early human history. Join us as we explore the mysteries that even time couldn't erase. If you're drawn to the unexplained, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more journeys into the unknown. Stay curious, stay safe, and may luck and good health always be with you. Vinča script, clues from the heart of Eastern Europe, deep beneath the soil of Serbia and Romania. Archaeologists unearthed something that shook the foundations of what we thought we knew about the birth of writing. Scattered across fragments of ancient pottery and carved into figurines dating back 6,000 to 8,000 years, they found strange geometric signs, symbols so old and so enigmatic that they may predate even the earliest Sumerian scripts. These markings, known today as the Vinča symbols or Vinča script, are some of the most mysterious relics of prehistoric Europe, arranged in deliberate sequences. They appear again and again on artifacts tied to the Vinča culture, a Neolithic society that flourished long before writing systems like cuneiform or hieroglyphs emerged. But what are they? Are they simply decorative motifs? Ritual markings meant to invoke spiritual forces? Or are they a forgotten language, an early form of written communication lost to history? Scholars remain divided. Some argue the symbols lack the structure of a real script. Others point to repeating patterns and position a logic as evidence of a genuine writing system. If the latter is true, then the people of the Vinča culture were not only farming and crafting tools, they may have been recording ideas, names, or even sacred texts thousands of years before the pyramids of Egypt rose from the sands. The implications are staggering. A fully developed script in Neolithic Europe would suggest that literacy, or at least proto-writing, didn't originate in Mesopotamia, as commonly believed, but may have emerged independently in multiple regions. Yet no one has cracked the code. No Rosetta Stone exists. For these symbols, no bilingual tablet to offer a key. They remain as silent mystery fragments of a forgotten mind, left behind by a civilization whose voice has been buried by time. And, as we hold these ancient shards in our hands, we're left with a haunting thought. What if Europe's earliest thinkers, long before Caesar, long before Plato, had already begun to write their world into permanence, only for history to erase the meaning? Could the Vinča script be the voice of a civilization that we've barely begun to understand? Proto-Elamite, secrets buried beneath the sands of Iran. In the arid highlands of Iran, far from the fertile plains of Mesopotamia, lies a mystery buried deep beneath layers of sand and silence. Around 5,000 years ago, a civilization known as Elam rose in the region, leaving behind tablets inscribed with strange wedge-shaped symbols now known as Proto-Elamite. These markings first appeared around the same time as the earliest Mesopotamian scripts, yet they remain completely undeciphered to this day. No bilingual texts exist to provide a key, no known phonetic translations have survived, and so the meaning of these tablets, scattered across sites like Susa and Anshan, remains locked away in a language we can neither speak nor understand. Some scholars believe these cryptic inscriptions may have served as an early accounting system, columns of symbols used to track goods, livestock, or resources in a growing urban society. Others suspect the system may have been more complex, capable of conveying language and abstract thought, but without a Rosetta Stone to guide us, the debate remains unresolved. What's even more intriguing is that Proto-Elamite may not be a linguistic dead end at all. It could be the distant ancestor of later Elamite writing, and perhaps even influence the development of cuneiform itself. The symbols bear a visual resemblance to the angular strokes of Mesopotamian scripts, suggesting a possible cultural dialogue between the two ancient powers, yet the mystery endures. Do these marks represent numbers, words, prayers, or contracts? Were they the creation of scribes, working in temples, or merchants, counting their wares? Or were they part of a deep, more spiritual system of record-keeping, now lost to history? The answers remain buried beneath dust and stone, sealed within tablets that continue to defy modern analysis. Every attempt to decipher them has, so far, led to more questions than solutions. And as we peer into the faint lines, etched by hands that lived and died thousands of years ago, we're left with a quiet wonder. How many voices from the dawn of civilization have vanished simply because we can no longer understand the signs they left behind? The Proto-Elamite script may not speak to us yet, but its silence may be louder than we think. Linear Elamite, the forgotten link. As the ancient echoes of Proto-Elamite began to fade across the Iranian plateau, a new script emerged, Linear Elamite, regarded as the direct successor to Proto-Elamite. This writing system surfaced around 2300 BCE and marked what should have been a breakthrough in deciphering Elam's forgotten voice. Its symbols were cleaner, more linear, more refined, suggesting a conscious evolution from the earlier, more chaotic signs. Unlike its predecessor, Linear Elamite appears in a more structured and formal context, carved into monumental inscriptions and clay tablets left behind by rulers of the Elamite kingdom. Yet despite its clarity of form, the meaning behind these elegant signs remains shrouded in mystery. Scholars have spent decades trying to crack the code, but even with a more uniform appearance, Linear Elamite has resisted full decipherment. Some progress has been made. Individual signs linked to known names or recurring patterns have offered hints, but the full picture remains out of reach. What makes it all the more perplexing is the growing belief that this script encodes a language completely unlike anything we know today. It doesn't appear to be Indo-European. It doesn't align with Semitic roots. Instead, it might represent a linguistic isolate, something entirely unique, born from a culture that developed its voice in total independence. If true, this means the Elamites weren't just borrowing writing. They were shaping their own complex system of thought and communication, disconnected from the dominant language families of their time. And that revelation would shake the foundations of how we map the origins of written expression. Some researchers argue that if we can unlock Linear Elamite, we might uncover the only surviving glimpse into a long-lost linguistic world, one that didn't just vanish, but was never connected to our own in the first place. But without more texts or a breakthrough artifact, Linear Elamite stands as a bridge that leads nowhere, or perhaps a bridge we simply haven't learned to cross. What remains is a haunting reminder. Even when a script becomes more refined, more beautiful, and more visible, understanding doesn't always follow. Sometimes the past hides not in complexity, but in silence, waiting for the day we finally learn how to listen. Palmyra, voices silenced in the Syrian desert. Beneath the blistering sun of the Syrian desert once stood the radiant city of Palmyra, an oasis of intellect, art, and culture rising from the sands, like a mirage carved in stone. In the 1st century CE, this thriving metropolis served as a crossroads between East and West, where caravans brought silk from China, gold from Rome, and ideas from every corner of the known world. At its heart flourished a unique script, Palmyra, a derivative of ancient Aramaic adapted to give voice to a people whose influence stretched across empires. The script was elegant, curved, and efficient, used to carve names, dedications, and possibly even philosophies onto tombs, temples, and stone tablets. Yet, despite its Aramaic roots, many of the surviving texts remain difficult to interpret. The language is recognizable, but meanings are elusive. Perhaps the nuances of dialect, lost over time, or the cultural context, now buried under centuries of ruin, have turned once clear inscriptions into riddles. When Palmyra was eventually destroyed, its temples burned, its monuments toppled, its libraries turned to dust, the knowledge embedded in its writing died with it. The Palmyrene script, once alive in the hands of poets, merchants, and priests, became a ghost of language, visible but voiceless. Scholars have debated what these people might have written. Some believe the lost texts of Palmyra included reflections on religion, ancient philosophy, and the nature of existence. Could they have preserved teachings from Zoroastrianism, Greek metaphysics, or local spiritual traditions, blending East and West into a hybrid worldview? We'll likely never know. The sands reclaimed the city, and what remains are fragmented messages etched into stone, half-whispered by time. It's a tragedy that repeats itself throughout history. A people silenced, not by the failure to write, but by the destruction of everything that gave those writings life. Today, Palmyrene stands as a symbol of what it means to lose a voice not just to language barriers, but to war, conquest, and the slow erosion of memory. Its letters still speak from the ruins, but without the key to their soul, we are left only to guess at what they once tried to say. Undeciphered scripts, the unexplained fragments. Scattered across the rugged terrains of Turkey, Georgia, and the Black Sea coast lie fragments of something half-lost and wholly puzzling symbols, etched into rock, carved into tools, or found on ancient artifacts with no known origin. These markings don't belong to any recognized writing system. They defy categorization, resisting connection to Latin, Greek, Aramaic, or any other familiar alphabet. Archaeologists call them undeciphered script fragments. But that label hides the deeper truth. We don't know who made them, why they were made, or even if they were meant to be writing at all. Some appear as geometric designs, crude yet deliberate. Others resemble runes or pictographs, as if someone tried to create a written language from scratch, but left behind only pieces of the puzzle. Found in remote areas, often unassociated with large cities or organized civilizations, these symbols have fueled endless speculation. Could they have belonged to forgotten nomadic tribes? Groups that never built empires, but passed their knowledge orally, and perhaps began experimenting with writing before vanishing from history. These mysterious signs may have been attempts to record trade, mark territory, preserve mythology, or conduct rituals, but without context, they remain shadows. Some researchers suggest they represent isolated bursts of literacy from cultures we never recorded, societies that touched the edge of written expression but never crossed fully into its domain. The implications are profound. If these markings are indeed early writing systems, then the story of human literacy becomes far more complex, branching off into unknown paths beyond the ancient cities of Sumer, Egypt, and China. But if they're not writing, if they're simply art, symbolism, or accidental scratches, then we're chasing ghosts through stone. Either way, these undeciphered fragments hint at voices long gone, messages never delivered, civilizations that brushed against history and disappeared before they could be named. They are relics from a world we may never fully see, but one that once lived, thought, and perhaps even tried to speak. Hypotheses on the disappearance. Why do some scripts vanish while others endure? What silences a written language that once carved meaning into stone and bone throughout history? Entire systems of writing have disappeared, not slowly, but suddenly, as if erased by an unseen hand. One explanation points to natural disasters. Could floods, earthquakes, or volcanic eruptions have wiped out entire civilizations before their scripts could be passed down? Others suggest war, where invading forces not only destroy cities, but obliterate cultures, burning libraries, toppling temples, and ensuring that nothing remains but ash and rubble. Then there's migration. Tribes and peoples may have abandoned old homelands, taking their knowledge with them. into regions where their scripts were no longer useful or welcome. Over time, these unique systems could have faded into silence, replaced by dominant tongues and imperial alphabets like Latin, Greek, or Aramaic. These weren't just languages, they were tools of control, spread through empires, religion, and commerce. When one system gained power, others often disappeared in its shadow. But what if there's more? What if some scripts didn't fade naturally, but were deliberately erased? Some scholars whisper of cultural purges, when powerful regimes or rival religions erased all signs of previous beliefs, burning not just texts, but the memory of the people who wrote them. Could there have been knowledge too dangerous? Ideas too disruptive? Encoded in those lost symbols, did someone ensure they would never be read again? It's a haunting possibility, one that turns these vanished scripts from academic curiosities into echoes of forgotten resistance. Whether lost to time, conquest, or conspiracy, one truth remains: these missing alphabets are more than relics. They are the final whispers of civilizations that once dared to record their thoughts, dreams, and truths in lines and curves that now no longer speak. Their silence is not emptiness, it's a question. And we, centuries later, are still trying to answer it. Conclusion: each undeciphered script is like a door unopened, a civilization whose story remains untold. These ancient symbols are silent witnesses to cultures lost in the folds of time, waiting patiently for someone to give them voice again. What secrets would we uncover if we could finally understand these mysterious writings? Would they change everything we thought we knew about human history? Perhaps the story of humanity is far more complex and richer than the pages of our textbooks reveal. The past still holds its breath, hiding answers in shapes and signs we have yet to decode. These ancient characters are waiting for a reader, a mind capable of unlocking their secrets. Who knows? Maybe that person is among us today. Don't let these mysteries fade into silence. Subscribe to the channel to join the journey, to explore the unsolved puzzles of our world, and to ensure no secret remains buried forever. The ancient scripts are calling. Will you answer? Stay curious, and may health and luck follow you always. Remember to subscribe and never miss the stories humanity has yet to tell.